And welcome back to Atreyu News. Wow, even more rioting in Sweden, but police reaction is shocking. Well, shocking to some, not shocking to us. Police allegedly backed away from riots that occurred last night in Sweden. Police were on Sunday evening in a place with large numbers in Trollhättan when the riot was over. According to police, youths burned tires, were involved in vandalism, and shot fireworks and rockets at both guards and a bus. There is turbulence. They have shot rockets and burned tires on the street, says duty officer Joachim Hansen to Expressen. I was on my way home from my parents when I saw a fire truck. When it stopped, I saw that there were open flames and loose cobblestones everywhere. Police and fire trucks could not go in because I guess they would have got stones thrown at them, so they backed off and drove away to Little, which is 500 meters away, said a witness to the newspaper. See these fucking cowards? So let me get this straight. Foreign invaders, and that's what they are, invaders, come in, start tearing your shit up, and what do? Nothing. What does the government do? Nothing. What does the public do? Nothing. Sweden, you are the most pathetic fucking country I've ever seen or heard about. And I suppose they deserve what they get, although I would not want to see the demise and the destruction of Sweden. It's like you reap what you sow. If a man stands there and gets punched in the face and refuses to defend himself, do I feel bad for him? Not really. Not at all. The police had a 20 at military time 2050 not yet tried to stop the gang because they needed some more recourses. Okay. We are trying to muster the resources to see if we can step in and disperse it all, said police officer. You're not doing shit. That's what you're doing. You're not doing a fucking thing. At 21:45, police announced that it had settled down. At 2200, several buses with riot equipment police rolled into the area. There are several units in place now. They had partially come from Gothenburg and from other areas, says Carl Born. Late Sunday evening, police were still in the area and work with security measures. A witness says there have been lots of barricades put up. They have cordoned off the area. The town, it seems. I would drive to refuel, but was stopped in the first roundabout, the witness says. 20 youths participated, no arrests. Well, that just figures. Sweden, you are fucking pathetic. In other news, breaking. Paris financial district evacuated. More from the religion of peace, I suppose. A bomb threat in Paris forced the financial district to be evacuated. People were led from the city's financial prosecutor's office this morning after an anonymous bomb threat was called in. A police source said officers are currently in the building in the 9th district, I suppose, searching for explosives. The sources added the search could take most of the day. Look at these guys. They're like, if I'm on my phone, it might appear that I'm doing something. My government won't pertain me to do anything, won't allow me to make any arrests, so I'll just get on my phone and start talking. The financial prosecutor's office is currently involved in a number of high-profile investigations, including those in allegations of financial wrongdoing by leading presidential candidates Marine Le Pen and Francois Fillon. Another source said a call was made at 10:12 a.m. to the police standard for a bomb alert at the financial center of the Rue des Italiens. The usual verifications are in process. Well, I'll give you two guesses who did this. Something tells me you're only going to need one. Uh-oh, China preparing for the worst with Trump's administration, and it's bad. China is preparing for the Trump administration to initiate a trade war and is ready to counter all U.S. trade penalties. And how the hell do they suppose they're going to counter all U.S. trade penalties? China pays no tariffs for entering the United States. The United States pays 30% tariffs for entering China. If we are not at war already, then I don't know what the hell you'd call this. On the one hand, recent tensions between China and the U.S. appeared to have been diffused following this weekend's visit by U.S. Secretary of State Rex Tillerson to Beijing, where it was all smiles during this meeting with China's president. With warm words from Xi, Tillerson on Sunday ended his first trip to Asia since taking office, with an agreement to work together with China on North Korea and putting aside trickier issues. Furthermore, as Reuters adds, preparatory preparatory work for a meeting between Chinese President Xi Jinping and U.S. President Donald Trump has begun. China's foreign ministry said on Monday, after a weekend visit to Beijing by U.S. Secretary of State Rex Tillerson, the planned summit between Xi and Trump could happen as soon as next month in the United States. On the other hand, however, China's government is already preparing for retaliation for what it deems as an inevitable first trade war step by the U.S. and has been seeking advice from its think tanks and policy advisors on how to counter potential trade penalties from U.S. President Donald Trump. That's funny how China would portray that we're not at war, but behind the scenes, just like Islam in Europe, they portray one thing, but at the behind the scenes they mean something completely different. China knows already that we are already at war. It is an economic war. And the US has been aiding China this entire, well, I can't say the US. Criminal elements within the US government has been aiding China to help produce the next world superpower. But it's not going to work because America's superpower is organic. China's power is manufactured. The policy advisors believe that Trump administration is most likely to impose higher tariffs on targeted sectors where China has big surplus in the United States, such as steel and furniture, or on state-owned firms. China could respond with actions such as finding alternative supplies of agriculture products or machinery and manufactured goods, while cutting its exports on consumer staples such as mobile phones or laptops. They said other options include imposing tax or other restrictions on big U.S. firms operating in China or limiting their access to China's fast-growing services sector. They added, China is pathetic, on the verge of collapse. They have these major super cities. I don't know if people seen these. They're giant cities like the size of I wouldn't say New York, not really that big, but other major cities. China has built these giant super city centers, but no one can live in them. It's fascinating to look on YouTube and see these giant cities who are ghost towns. You won't find a fucking person walking down the street. No one can afford to live in it. So China's GDP is not organic, it's manufactured, it's false. And every time someone tries that, it always ends up in the exact same way. A bursting bubble and a collapsing empire. China's day's coming, and they know it.